Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. If you're holding XRP and you're wondering to yourself, have I selected a winner? I think it's obvious the answer is yes. I'll tell you, at a minimum, it's very clear that Bitwise CEO Matt Hogan thinks so. That's for damn sure. Look at this headline from the Crypto Basic. Bitwise CIO says XRP hasn't unleashed its full potential yet. Reveals why Bitwise filed for XRP ETF. And as I've been insisting for years upon years, the best is yet ahead, despite the battle that so many of us had to go through over the last several years, specifically in the XRP community. You can't stop this. And everyone that's tried to stop XRP has failed and will continue to fail. XRP continues to be more and more adopted, and if you think that the market's not going to catch up and sufficiently value that price-wise in the future, you out your damn mind, son. That doesn't make sense. Right now, what's happening is we're living in a world where XRP, even after its recent run-up, is still supremely undervalued in my humble opinion. So I'm going to share that with you. There's also this headline, which actually, you'll see why as we get through this, it kind of relates to that story, but SEC Chair Gary Gensler unlikely to finish term as President-elect Trump looking for replacement report. And then there's also this one. I'm telling you folks, I know nobody knows for sure what's going to happen with the XRP price, including me, but I have my conviction. And my conviction is that XRP is going to melt your face. XRP is going to hit a new all-time high in enterprise discovery. It's just a matter of time. I don't get to choose when, but I'm going to be here when it happens. And yes, it's a long journey, relatively speaking, but, you know, if you compare price action to what happens in legacy finance, maybe not so much. But here's the headline. Analyst sets next short-term XRP target at $2.82. Well, I will not be surprised if that short-term target comes to pass. Not quite at all-time high levels there, but yeah. Look at what it's already doing before we have retail mania. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so we had the first ever Bitcoin ETF. Well, they got it. Have like what? How many are there now? 11. We had the first approval though of a Bitcoin ETF in January of this year, and that's something that materially matters. Now, I think it was overblown the degree to which it would impact the price of XRP, or rather Bitcoin, this market cycle. But my stance has always been that over a span of years and decades, the amount of money that will flow in that otherwise wouldn't will be very substantial. So it is a big deal for the long haul. And I think it's fair to say that these Bitcoin ETFs on the whole have been much more successful than what many people anticipated. I'd say wildly successful, right? And so that paved the way for getting the Ethereum ETF, the spot ETF, approved as well earlier this year. And this matters. This matters because it genuinely impacts real-time supply and demand dynamics for Bitcoin and ETH, right? Because if you're purchasing an ETF, it's a derivative, and so it's not that you would hold the Bitcoin yourself. That's the point. Maybe you don't want to self-custody Bitcoin. You don't want to open a Coinbase account. But you do want some exposure. And so these products are for those people that are just regularly purchasing on, you know, whether they're using their Charles Schwab account or whatever, but they're just purchasing stuff that people on Wall Street purchase, right? But if you purchase the ETF, then the company, whichever company you're talking about, that offers that ETF, they have to buy the Bitcoin. So it absolutely, in real time, impacts the supply and demand dynamics for Bitcoin and ETH. So that's why having an approval of an XRP ETF materially matters. And so we found out in the last month and a half or so that there's actually a lot of demand for an XRP ETF. And there have been 3 filed. Now, I'm sure that many of you are aware of this, but a lot of people are new to crypto, I've noticed, jumping in. There's more people than normal looking at my channel right now. That always happens every 4 years, so welcome to the party, everybody. Happy to have you here. And there are also some people that may have been watching my videos 1, 2, 3 years ago and haven't watched as much because you just don't have that daily interest in crypto, which is totally fine. So I just want to make sure we're all caught up to speed here, though. But there have been 3 ETFs applications filed with the SEC. The first one was on October 2nd. Here you can see the headline from CoinDesk. Bitwise makes XRP ETF plans official with SEC filing. And so again, that's why this matters. If this is approved, then anybody that buys the XRP ETF, although they're not holding the XRP themselves, well, in this case, if it's Bitwise, then Bitwise would purchase the XRP. And if they're holding it, then nobody else on the planet can hold it. So this will matter tremendously over a span of years and decades, driving the price of XRP higher to a notable degree than it otherwise would be. We had a second one filed on October 9th here. Canary Capital files for XRP ETF joining crypto race. You'll love to see it. And then we had a third one here, and this is a couple weeks ago. XRP ETF moves closer to reality as 21 shares files S1 with SEC. So that's 3. Now, I've argued for a long time that XRP has been artificially suppressed, certainly price-wise. But with the SEC attack several years ago when Ripple was sued, it also, and it's an unknowable quantity, but certainly to some degree, the amount of adoption that XRP would have had in the real world diminished. Developers that might have otherwise built stuff on the XRP ledger didn't. It's an, again, unknowable quantity, but could you deny that? Because if you're worried about the long-term viability of XRP and the XRP ledger because you don't know how this shakes out from a legal perspective, are you going to start building some massive projects there? I mean, maybe you will, but especially if you don't care what the United States does, but there have to have been some number of developers that were like, nope. It certainly prevented moving forward with an XRP ETF. There's no chance in hell that was going to happen until Judge Torres made a ruling in July of last year. But now XRP does have that legal clarity, and now it can run free. So we have this headline again. Bitwise CEO says XRP hasn't unleashed its full potential yet, reveals why Bitwise filed for XRP ETF. And this is what I'm saying. It's not just you that thinks XRP makes sense. There's demand, as you'll see, for exposure to XRP on a massive scale, or this wouldn't be happening, to be clear. I keep saying, we're in a bull run now. XRP will melt faces. Bitwise CIO, Matt Hogan, reveals the strategic thinking behind the company's filing for a spot-based exchange-traded fund for XRP. Hogan made this known during an interview with Tony Edward, the host of the Thinking Crypto podcast. In the interview, Edward asked Hogan to comment on what prompted the company's decision to apply for an XRP ETF before the U.S. election. Responding, the Bitwise CIO first highlighted XRP's strengths, recognizing its strong community support and underlying technology, the XRP ledger. And despite XRP's potential, Hogan still believes people have not yet seen the coin's full capability due to the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit. He noted that the SEC lawsuit is limiting the potential of Ripple and XRP, describing it as, quote, operating with 2 hands tied behind your back, end quote. However, Hogan speculated that XRP could unleash its full potential in the market if there is a resolution to the industry's regulatory issues. Highlighting XRP's market appeal, Hogan asserted that the coin has quality and has attracted the interest of Wall Street companies. Well, go figure. You know, I was saying this back when I launched my channel at the end of 2018. I was saying this stuff, and maybe it sounded crazy to some back then. I'm like, no, just let time pass, let the asset class mature, and Wall Street's going to come for XRP. Why would they not? And here we are. I'm vindicated. It took years and years, and an SEC lawsuit, which stressed the hell out of everybody involved, right? But here we are, and there is that demand. And here's a quote. I transcribed this myself. This is Matt Hogan in that interview, and he said, XRP is an asset that has sustained and proven itself over a long period of time. It has a very strong community and very strong technology underneath. From my point of view, we haven't seen what it can do because the company Ripple has been engaged in this difficult lawsuit with the SEC. End quote. Yeah, spot on. You know, you don't have an asset like XRP that has gone through these types of trials, existed literally over a decade, just had this surge, all for it to just go kaput, that's the end of it. No. No. The best is yet ahead. I have strong conviction XRP will be hitting a new all-time high. I don't pretend to know exactly when. I don't control it, but I'm going to be here when it happens. I'm going to see this thing through. And the rest of the world is getting it now. It's less scary since it does have that regulatory clarity, and now we do have multiple firms seeking to launch XRP ETFs. And the good news for you listening, you're here before all of this. You're here before the rest of the world figured out that XRP makes sense. Some of us, I wasn't the first one either, though. I mean, I jumped in 2017, which now makes me an OG, as they say, I guess, if you've been here that long. But, I mean, I used to be new. And there were people that I was talking to in the XRP community back then, and I was learning about how long have you been here, and and they talk about the price they paid for XRP. And I was talking to people that were buying XRP for half a penny. That sounds insane now that it's over $1, right? Okay, fine, but if somebody talks to you a decade from now, you'll have a similar story, won't you? You could anyway. How high is this thing going to go? Why can't we have a multi-trillion-dollar market cap for XRP? Well, we could. I think there will be multiple coins that will have multi-trillion-dollar market caps. Well, of course. Eventually, this asset class is going to be valued, I would assume, not just in the tens of trillions, but over $100 trillion. Just let enough time pass. And XRP is clearly playing an important part of all this. So I just love seeing this stuff. It's the cool stuff. And then here's another quote from him. I think it's a really interesting idea to consider what can this asset do if it is unleashed, end quote. Exactly. And see, that's the thing. It is unshackled now. Piece continues. Commenting on why Bitwise filed for an XRP ETF, he revealed that the company only files an ETF application with full conviction of its success. And here's a quote from him again. Bitwise does not file for fun. We file because we think there is a pathway to launch a product, end quote. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It doesn't seem so impossible anymore, does it? Interestingly, he suggested that Bitwise has a history of persistence, as seen in its Bitcoin ETF pursuit, which took 5 years before the SEC approved it earlier this year alongside other applications. Okay, so very optimistic for the launch, and that's because of the change in administration. That's why I wanted to highlight this. SEC Chair Gary Gensler unlikely to finish term as President-elect Trump, looking for a replacement. Now, I don't feel it necessary to read this whole article. I just want to make a broader point. With the fact that the election went the way that it did, it means that Gensler's out. It's a virtual certainty here. And I do believe what's most probable is that somebody who is pro-crypto will be put in charge of this. And then, you got the 5-person commission and one of the, to vote on whether or not, there's new lawsuits or something should get approved. And so as it pertains to the SEC's potential approval of any XRP ETF, there will be 3 votes on the Republican side. You know it's going to happen then. These things are going to get approved. That's a virtual certainty. Unless something disastrous happens in terms of who gets put in charge of the SEC, and then we'll talk about it if we have a very unfortunate event, but I'm very optimistic based on most of the names that are being floated. And I talked about a recent video, so I don't want to really go through it again. I just wanted to make the broader point because it kind of connects to what Matt Hogan was just talking about there. And then we also have this. Analyst sets next short-term XRP target at $2.82. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. I don't think it's really necessary to read this whole article either. But I just wanted to note, and I really mean this, it's almost impossible to find a chart analyst who doesn't think XRP is going to hit a new all-time high. You can find them. They exist, but the vast majority of them have, when you check into their history, they have a multi-year history of irrationally hating XRP. And I think that bias flows into their analysis. Go figure. But if you find an analyst who's reputable, has a track record, if they haven't been irrationally bashing XRP, almost 100% are like, yeah, I mean, of course, here are the reasons why, from a chart perspective, XRP is going to hit a new all-time high this cycle. And so they're citing here in this article perspective from an analyst that I'm not familiar with, but I just wanted to make the point. This is what I keep seeing. It's very difficult to find an analyst who doesn't think that we're going to be heading in this direction anyway. And so, fine, you're not talking about literally a new all-time high in this particular article in the post that's referenced. But you are talking about getting pretty damn close at this point, honestly. So they're talking about perspective from an account on social media platform X that goes by the name Tesla Tracker. So Tesla enthusiast here. Okay, totally fine. But XRP, understandably so, has caught the attention of this particular analyst here. And so just the other day I wrote, can XRP get back on top of 1.069? If so, then plus 160% to $2.82 is my next target above. Okay, this is in line with what I keep seeing from just about every analyst under the sun. So thinking back to how I opened this video asking, if you're holding XRP, if you're ever wondering if you bet on a winner, the answer, in my estimation, is yeah, I think you probably did. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.